Over the years, technology has progressed in the way the audio signal is encoded and recorded, moving from analog to digital.
As we migrated to digital, digital basically takes a snapshot of the audio waveform, in this case 1/48,000th of a second, or 48,000 snapshots per second, the sampling rate, and records those as a level based on time, ones and zeros. So there's no analogous waveform. It is strictly ones and zeros. So a lot of the issues with tape speed issues and things of that nature go away in the digital domain.
Digital is something fundamentally different, and it's different in one particular way. And the first way, though, to get there is by sampling. Now, this is a widely confused word because sample means one thing to a musician, where you take a clip of a piece of music and you repeat it over and over. We're not talking about that. We're talking about sampling rapidly enough that we can reconstruct the waveform at the end of the day. And this rate at which the sampling is done is at 48 kilohertz for all film and television-based media. So 48,000 times per second, we grab a sample of the waveform.
If we look at how digital equipment encodes and records audio, you may have heard two terms, and those are sample rate and bit depth. Well, the sample rate is the number of times per second that a recording device captures or samples the sound. As an analogy, think of sound like a flowing river. It's constant and consistent in its flow. Well, we could sample the water using buckets, the same way we sample the sound wave. The more buckets you use, the more accurate the sample. So taking 48,000 samples per second of the sound wave would be like taking 48,000 buckets of water per second from the river. The more samples you take, the higher the resolution of the sound. For example, your voice over a telephone is only 8,000 samples per second, or 8,000 hertz. A CD holds audio sampled at 41,100 hertz, while DVD audio or Blu-ray can support 96,000 samples per second.
We can go all the way up to 192,000 samples per second. Each sample's a little bit smaller, shorter time period. The idea is, if you think of the digital waveform as a series of stair steps over an analog sine wave, going to a higher sampling rate makes the stair steps smaller or less jagged.
The switch from tape to hard disk recording is has taken some time. And granted, in the beginning, people were like, oh, this sounds horrible. Well, it did. It was 8-bit. It sounded like crap.
I don't think most people could tell the difference between 44.1 and 48K. I don't think most people could tell the difference between 48K and 96K. I don't think hardly anybody but a pure audiophile could really hear what 192K does.
Fast forward, a few decades, and those limitations are no longer there. Now, we can record at various sampling rates and speed. We can go 96K if we want, and 24-bit or higher. And basically what that translates to in terms of audio quality is the algorithms. The more numbers you have at the end of the algorithm, the more in-depth and fine-tuned you will get in your audio file.
Now the next part of the process is at the heart of digital audio. We quantize that instant in time, and that word again contains what we're doing. We take the quantity of it, the height of it, what quantity does it lie. And what we're doing is comparing that height to a bin, a set of bins, or a staircase. And each tread of the staircase is labeled with a number. This is tread number 11,322. And we have to assign it a number. 22.5 doesn't exist. We either have to go up or we have to go down. We have to bin it. We have to put a number on it. The enormous advantage that this has is if you write down a string of numbers and put them on a Xerox machine, and then take the copy and Xerox the copy, and then Xerox that copy, and then Xerox that copy. So long as you can read the numbers, you can get back to the original signal, to the precision at which you originally digitized it. If you did that in an analog picture, it gets contrastier and contrastier and blurrier until you can't see it anymore. So the Achilles heel of analog is in copying, and the whole raison d'etre for digital is in making copies that are clones of the original.
The second attribute is the bit depth. Now, bit depth can be thought of as the amount of each sample size. If we go back to our bucket analogy, whereas the sample size is the number of buckets per second, the bit depth is the size of the buckets, how much data is being taken in each sample. A bit is a binary number, which means it can either be a 1 or a 0. Well, if we translate that to an image, let's say, a 1-bit image would look like this. Each pixel would be either black or white. Now, every bit you add doubles the amount of information. So to increase our image to 2 bits would add 4 shades from black to white. A 3-bit image would increase the number of shades to 8. Well, as we continue to add bits, we see the image come into more and more detail, because the signal is capable of holding more data about the image. When we get upwards of 8 bits, we have 256 shades of gray, much like the old 8-bit video games that we had decades ago. Increasing the bit depth to 16 bits gives us 65,536 shades of gray and a level of detail that allows us to see tremendous detail in the image. Well, sound works the same way. In each sample, the number of bits sampled relate to how clear each sample is. Now, the more bits you have, the cleaner the audio recording is. As a rule of thumb, for every bit you add, the signal-to-noise ratio will increase by 6 dB. So an 8-bit recording will have a signal-to-noise ratio of 48 dB, while a 16-bit recording has a signal-to-noise ratio of 96 dB. The higher the signal-to-noise ratio, the quieter the noise in the recording.
It isn't proof just because it's digital, it's good. But if certain measures are taken and protection provided, then the copy is just as good as the original. But it's only as good as the steps of the staircase to which you quantized it. The CD is quantized 16 bits, so there's 16 zeros and ones, representing a range from 1 to 65,000, about 65,000 steps in the staircase. Interestingly, digital video came later than the compact disc, and so digital video tape recorders had 20-bit audio, and some of them 24-bit audio, representing dynamic ranges of 120 to 140 some decibels. So they're actually better audio media than were the audio deliberate media that came earlier.
All right, thanks for watching this preview video. Now please like and subscribe to our channel to keep up with the latest filmmaking techniques. Now to see the rest of this video, be sure to visit FilmSkills.com, where you can read industry-leading blogs, interact with filmmakers around the world, download hundreds of forums, and unlock thousands of tips, tricks, and techniques. So from all of us here at FilmSkills, go out, make great movies, and do it safely.